You're listening to Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. Small town feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Yeah, it's been quite the morning. Trying to get through Crowley traffic and trains, and I want to thank Crowley PD for taking pity on me. Hey, Taylor, I'm not seeing us in the screens. There we go.
There you
Okay.
go.
Anyway, it's like it was the train dead stop.
Yeah.
And we deal with it in Burleson, but in Crowley, it seems to be a real problem.
Yeah.
I would be interested to know an economic study how much it costs the city every time a train stops or goes slowly through, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's another story for another time. But thank you, Crowley PD, for taking pity on. I was going like, I'm late to the show, and he's, "You're Mr. Allard?"
Mr. Allard. Oh,
No, he had no idea who I was. The gentleman had no idea, and that's fine. Anyway, get Alex Phillips here, and we're going to talk about what's going on in business in Burleson, and also that Project U, and all that.
We're about a month away.
Yeah, and you're pretty booked, aren't you, with that?
Yeah, we're completely sold out. 408 tickets, and we have 20-something people on the wait list.
Good grief.
So
you need a bigger space.
we do need a bigger venue in town.
Well, I have Victoria coming on, and fairly soon I'm going to say, hey, we need that center, the meeting center. But of course, we have no other priorities on the budget, so what's the big deal? I mean, just write a check and be done. But I don't know. So
if only life was that easy.
Yeah,
exactly.
But anyway, we'll just talk about various things, but let's talk about sponsors, get them taken care of because they paid to make this all happen. Our place, what can you say about our place? I was there yesterday, had lunch there as always. I really do like their chicken fried steak. I should try other things on the menu, but it's like, but I don't want to miss out on the chicken fried steak.
Yeah,
you know what I
exactly.
mean? So there you go.
For sure.
I know you and your family go there quite a bit.
We do.
Yeah. Also, Gina's, they have taken care of their oven problem. You hear about that?
Yeah.
That's where we were heading, my buddy and I. That's where I like to do business, is one of those two places because you can think and it's quiet and service is good, food's good, all that. And I drove up and they told me they had oven problems, but I think they're taken care of now. So y'all can go by and get your pizza. And so there you go. But thank you, Otto, for all what you do. Also, I just saw, I forgot this one. Wild Cigar. I got to get my act together. Wild Cigar. I'll be talking to them sometime next week about what's going on. I know they got a special on the last day of this month, and they got a lot of things planned around the playoff games.
Yeah.
And so they got that going on, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how often you get there. I go there at least once a month just because I want to keep touch and I like the place. It's a good place. It's not like I dread going there at all. It's a wonderful place.
They have a great cocktail bar in there.
They do. You get yourself a decent drink.
Yeah.
And now that we've changed the liquor laws, I was going to ask you about that later. I'm sure I know you can't be specific or name names, but you can generally say that if there's been interest.
Yes.
I'm sure that's the case.
Yes.
Yeah. Wild Cigar. Thank you for what y'all do. And now this is as referring to Old Pro Roofing. I just saw John a few minutes ago at our BNI meeting, 817-734-2756. This is going to be, one of these winters, I think it's going to be pretty warm, but also it's going to have episodes like we did last week. In fact, not that I believe it, but they're supposed to have a forecast for snow next week. Mm-hmm. And I'm really always skeptical. Because of what happened like last week, Monday or Tuesday was like, here comes the wolves out of the hills. And I barely got covered in snow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the stock show does start on Saturday.
Yes. That is a guaranteed bad weather makers.
That's an indicator.
Yeah. I like the stock show. I haven't been in a while, but I'm going to try to make it this time.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. 817-734-2756. Have them check out your roof, because if you find out at a bad time your roof has got holes in it, then you're going to have more problems than just a little one. And so have him check him out, and he'll tell you what's going on, good, bad, or indifferent. Mm-hmm. Okay. Also, thank you to our friend Jeff Kelly. We're working out time for him to be on next month because a lot of stuff happened in the real estate and and interest rates and things of that nature. And Burleson's still growing,
Still growing.
Even you hear stuff in the papers, or see stuff on the news, whatever, about the housing market. It's still pretty active around here, and So it's a lot going on. So talk to Jeff because he'll know what's going on. 817-781-0546 or Jeff at jeffkellyrealty.com. I'll say that again since I tongue tied. Jeff at jeffkellyrealty.com and make an appointment. See what happens. Yeah. Also, thank you to our friends at Hotworks, Michelle.
Yeah.
It does great work. And she's very, very knowledgeable about health-related issues and taking care of yourself and things of that nature. And the good thing about these infrared workouts is that you have a quality workout, but without all the stress and strain that you might get at a gym. Gyms have their place, obviously, but this is a different kind of workout. You're not here to build body mass. You're here to just keep shape and whatever else. And with the infrared system, it's more productive than just a typical workout. So they have 11 different workouts as well. So give her a holler. Also, our friends over at Local Life, Tiffany, the magazine covered this week is Hughley Health Center.
Yeah.
And a lot of people use it. And it's a health-related issue as a whole. So if you want to check out what's going on in the business world, that's a good place to do it. 30,000 homes get it. So there you are. Also, thank you to our friends at Burleson Buzz. And they're going to be part of the radio program in a sense. I'll talk about it at the end. You might be interested in this as well, being a business guru that you are. But you get a lot of good news out of that you don't get otherwise, and so you are. Taylor, I don't think I have the link yet.
I sent it, but I'll send it again.
All right, Anyway, so how you been?
Been good.
I know. So you survived the holidays and all that. Yeah.
This week finally feels like the first full week of the new year.
Well, it seems like this whole
everybody's
year.
Everybody's getting back into the groove.
Well, it's like we couldn't get any traction, get any tread going because then you had the holidays and you had the weather and the Jimmy Carter funeral day and all this. It's like, dang, doesn't anybody work around here?
Yeah, exactly.
Did y'all get that day off?
No.
I didn't think so.
No, we had the office was closed last Thursday and Friday for the snow days or potential
or the
issues.
The wet street.
But that was for non-essential personnel, but we still had all the public work crews and everybody out taking care, making sure the roads were safe for everybody.
Sure. I mean, I saw plenty of the streets had been stripped with that brine or whatever it is they put on it, and so our city dollars at work. Dadgummit.
For sure.
Y'all do good work. Y'all do. I don't have any complaints about the city. And I had Colin Gregory on yesterday, and I don't have any complaints about the police. Some people get worked up, but no, I don't. I think they do a great job. Yeah. I don't. Some people get worked up at the time of day, so that's their problem.
Very true.
Well, anyway, so I want to kind of jump to that change in the liquor rules. All right.
Yeah.
My guess, and then again, I know the parameters of our discussions have to be pretty vague because you don't want to let out any state secrets just yet. But my guess was even before this election, people saw what was coming and probably were making inquiries about it in Burleson already.
Absolutely. We have some inquiries and some people moving forward to, to bring in the first liquor store to the community.
Well, and I talked to a few people about it, and a couple of people were opposed because they don't drink it, they think it's going to add to the problem or whatever. Yeah. But I also told them, I said, unless you don't go to any of the Burleson restaurants and you eat all your meals at home, this liquor law will change to the better some of the abilities of some of these restaurants to make a profit.
Yes.
And keep them around.
Absolutely. It'll save them a lot of time and money having something in town where they can buy wholesale. It also benefits the city in sales tax revenue as well.
Probably delivers, because I don't believe the fellow down in Alvarado delivers. He may or may not. I don't deal with him.
He recently started.
Okay. Well, and he may have to start dealing wholesale.
Yeah.
But, after that, I talked to my friends over at Wild, and what bothered them isn't just the cost, but also the restriction of what he sold is what they had to sell, and they couldn't go past it, Because they would, a lot of people, they have very refined taste on whiskey or whatever, and they said, well, do you have this or do you have that? I said, no, and the reason they didn't have it is because he didn't have it, and if he didn't have it, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think that didn't sound very capitalistic,
No, not at all. They controlled it.
Yeah.
And still do until we get something in town.
I'm thinking, this is me thinking, a Total Wine would do pretty well here.
Yeah.
You go to the Specs, and I don't go there all the time. I'm not really doing like the dry January, but I am trying to modify my habits, you might say. And, you know, and it's a nice place, but it's small.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
In comparison to most specs. And I think a Total Wine, if they put it over like by HB Kroger, that area, they'll do big business.
Yeah, I think so too.
I can't see it in Old Town. I can't see it on the east side of the highway. But, and I want to bring that up as well about the east side of the highway just in a little bit later. But so we've had inquiries.
We have. So
what does Burleson place upon these stores in terms of requirements, space, security, et cetera?
I don't know all the details because, I mean, that's development services, but I know they have to at least be 5,000 square feet in size. I know there's some enhanced landscaping that they have to do and some safety security measures, but I don't know exactly what those are.
Yeah.
And I know they can't be, you know, within 1,000 feet of one another.
Right.
So you can't have them side by side or across the street from one another, things of that nature.
Well, that's a good idea. But, you know, a lot of people were also concerned that there would be a bunch of people that were drunk or whatever hanging around liquor stores. I don't hang around liquor stores a lot myself, but I've never seen that at like Total Wine in Fort Worth or Specs or anything like that.
Either. It's,
you know, most people that want to imbibe usually do it at home or at a bar. They're not going to do it at a liquor store.
True.
But, you know, I'm glad y'all took those concerns into consideration. You know,
council wanted those concerns looked at, and with development services, they came up with a plan, change the ordinance. So
yeah. Well, I had a real fun time with the Mayor Fletcher about this last time because, you know, he's Church of Christ and he's not a drinker and all this other stuff. And I'm like, and he's like, look, I had to do what the city needed, you know, whatever. It was so that kind of thing. It was kind of funny, you know.
For sure.
But I doubt we'll see him in the store. And it's, you know, I made the joke with him. It's like Baptists, you know, they don't recognize the Koran, the Pope, or each other at the liquor store. That's the kind of the deal. Yeah. You know, I'll probably see Taylor there pretty often. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Anyway, so we are having some movement on that. I was going to ask you about some property spaces. Okay. One is, I just kind of occurred to me, east side of Renfro, or not Renfro, the highway on Renfro. Okay. You know, I live 3 miles up east of the highway, and there's nothing really there other than Via Diana, which is fine. I like it, but you know, and I think Sonic is the only other two places other than, you know, like the gas station that used to be Bennett's. Now it's Renfro One Stop. You can get a hamburger there, and they're good too.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, they're very good. But we don't have nearly the same options on this part of Burleson that we do on the west side.
The east side is not as dense as you know the other side of town, and you know retailers want the traffic count and the traffic and the rooftops. And the east side of town is more estates or larger lots. And
no, we have plenty of dense people out there.
Well,
is that what you meant? Okay,
that is not what I meant. Whatever you want to say, you can say, but that didn't come out of my mouth.
I know.
But I mean, the east side, you know, as you get, you know, from Sonic, you know, the new QT opened up there. There's still some available properties in and around there. I think there's a potential development across the street from Bennett's or Renfro One Stop in the future, but we haven't seen that come through or anything like that. But for major retailers and restaurants, they want to be, you know, Freeway or 174.
Yeah.
Going out East Renfro, it starts to get, you know, less dense. I mean, to be honest, I mean.
Well, I know, but I just, you know, you go into the grocery store, you go to any other, you know, restaurant or other retail outlet. Almost all of them are on the other side of the highway, and
where the traffic
and the lights
and the population's
and the
at,
trains
and other co-tenants, you know, to where you know the other people are shopping at and things of that nature. And I think you know, stuff on the east side will happen at Hidden Creek and 35. It won't happen at Renfro and 35 to a certain extent.
Well, what do you get to? We get the Toyotas and
Volkswagen, but there's also some open land there for future development as well.
I hope so. You know, I know there's some space by the school, but you know, being by a school, doesn't that limit certain businesses?
And the ISD owns that as well. So
and they own that big piece of property on
Bob Ransom on Hearst.
Yeah. It's like, and that's been there forever. You know, I was told many, many years ago that was going to be a spot of the new junior high. And a lot of people said, I don't think so, because they didn't want all the traffic issues.
Yeah.
And
so I don't know BISD's plans for that property or anything like that.
And you hear rumors and stuff. I heard another rumor that BISD was going to sell it to a housing developer.
Yeah.
And the residents didn't care for that either because that could be a high occupancy kind of place, multifamily housing, apartments, et cetera.
Yeah.
And so it's just been there forever. And it's I know
absolutely.
the city wants them to unload it because that's taxable property.
I mean, we're not in active talks with them or anything like that. We don't know what their future plans are with that property or anything like that. And we haven't had any discussions about that property
Well, I talked to my good friend Brett.
So,
I would talk to Jimerson and say, hey, buddy, what's the deal here?
Yeah, there you go.
But also, that property that used to be Hill College, it's been there for a while.
Yeah.
And you hear things, and I don't know how much is just Facebook chatter or whatever. Is there any interest in that at all?
No, we've talked to multiple developers about the property and different development ideas and things of that nature, and we're just continuing those conversations until we find one that we feel like fits what we're the goals of that property would be, and being more of a mixed use type of development.
When you say mixed use, what are we talking about particularly? I mean, when you say mixed use, sometimes I
think there's some ideas out there to be, a multi-story retail bottom floor, offices on top, that kind of thing.
But not residences.
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
That's what I was getting at.
No. The RFP that, the request for proposal that went out on it when the Burleson EDC acquired that property from the city, and, it restricted residential. So
y'all have... You say you have kind of the ownership in a sense of that property?
The 4A corporation owns it.
Yeah, but I don't know. But it's connected to the city. It's not like
to a certain extent, yes.
Right. But as far as mixed use, retail and office space, are we short of office space?
I think office is coming back as people want their people back in the office and not working as remote.
I was talking to a couple of people in my B&I meeting last week, not today, but last week about, working remote because, a lot of them had been, and they kind of miss the going into work and being around people routine. It's plus the fact that Mr. Trump has said that every federal employee is going to go back and work at a physical space.
Yeah.
And so that may increase demand for office
space.
There's
a lot of bigger companies that are starting to require back in the office kind of thing. And I think a lot of smaller companies are starting to go to more of a hybrid, like you're in the office a few days a week and you can work remote a few days a week.
That's what my son has that deal with Boeing. He works about 50-50.
Yeah.
So, and
every company is different. I think, there's some need for some office space, but we have some office space at the Standard, and, we market that and try to get companies into office.
Yeah,
as well.
I just wondered if, because when we talk about business expansion, you and I, it's almost always retail or people that deal directly with the public.
Yeah, so we have, we deal with retail, industrial, commercial, and, office falls into that as well.
Well, I don't know. You think about things that, that individually I'd like or other people would like. And
everybody talks about the retail side of things because that's easy. It's like, hey, we want this. No one's saying, hey, we need another food manufacturer that cretes jobs.
Like that bakery that, I've heard a lot about that. And a lot of people are pretty excited about that.
So Paris Baguette.
Yeah. There are a lot of people who pay attention to these kind of things to really see the benefit of it, jobs and tax revenue. And
it's 450 new jobs, at the full build out of their facility. And those 450 people are going to have to live and, eat lunch and eat dinner somewhere in and around town. So it's a economic benefit for the city.
And really for the county, because some of the employees, I'm sure, live in Alvarado or Joshua.
Absolutely.
And so it benefits everybody.
Yes.
It's kind of like that Amazon, Amazon warehouse distribution center coming on the Tollway in Chisholm and 67. Yeah. My good and close friend Derek Withers over the city council, and I've talked about that before. Well, kind of being facetious. I mean, we've gotten to know each other, and he's really excited about that. And that's what we need. But as far as the retail, I'm putting together this radio station, right? And I am finding out just all the steps and details I have to put together. Yeah, there's the logo right there.
Yeah.
All the steps and details it takes to just make this small enterprise work. I'm sure that just putting in a store of any kind, or a restaurant, or an office space or building, that's all those steps times 100.
Absolutely. So,
I'm learning the hard way.
Yeah, it takes time too. I mean,
a lot of time.
The Paris baguette deal, we were in competition for that deal for over a year.
Yeah,
before we got it across the finish line. So I mean, it
I
takes a lot of time.
In your job, you have to be patient.
You have to be, and I'm not really patient.
Neither am I, and that's why I would be nuts. It's like I'd feel like I'd walk into the people with Paris baguette and said, "Well, here we are. What's holding you back? Where's my answer?"
Exactly.
And if you go that way, I'm sure you turn off a potential client.
You can. So, but I mean, it pays to your benefit sometimes, though, too, depending on who the client is.
One time we were talking on the show, and I was asking you, well, don't we have too many of these and too many of those? And you basically said, well, they didn't think so. So,
exactly.
If we have another coffee shop going in that space, then somebody must have thought there's money to be made still.
For sure.
And I have a friend that sells demographic and marketing information, and it's real detailed.
Oh, it's very detailed.
It's not like, they get very broad. I mean, he showed it to me. It's like it's very statistical.
Yeah. It's all tracked by your phone. They used to track credit cards, and zip codes and stuff like that to see where people are coming from. Now they're tracking your location, from your device.
And they were doing demographic studies of like the buying area, like what kind of cars they drive, and what's the value of their homes, and what's the estimated incomes of these people, and on and on and on. I mean, and it was very mathematically oriented. And so when these people come in and we're going to have another coffee shop or a car wash, people think, oh, we already got a dozen. Well, somebody must have thought you needed 13.
Exactly.
And so I don't, but I'm also finding out just how difficult it is for small businesses to operate because they have such slim margins.
They do. Small business is not for the weak at heart.
No.
By no means. So
I'm finding that out too.
And that's why we try to do as much as we can to help support them the best way we can.
Well, when I was buying some gifts for a party I was going to for B&I, I thought of you because I went to Accents and I went to Tamarelli's Oil and Moretti's Oil, and I went to the Old Town Provisions, which unfortunately I think is closed.
They're, I think, closing by the end of the month.
Yeah, right.
So
and it's too bad.
I hate to see them go.
I do too.
They're a great shop.
It's got great inventory.
Wes and Anthony we're great partners, and we'll continue to be.
And I hope
just different ventures.
I hope so. And my plea to my vast listening audience, I mean, they're going to be probably getting unloading some of their merchandise. So once you go there, you probably can help
I think
them
yesterday
out.
They were advertising 70% off. So
I went there yesterday and I bought 2 things.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
What'd you get?
I got a beanie that I'm wearing right now that says Old Town Provisions.
Okay.
And then I got Java John coffee. They have Java John
they
coffee
do.
there.
Yeah.
I bought some coffee there.
It was a good deal.
Yeah.
So
but I have heeded your preaching about buying local.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel guilty buying somewhere else?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we try our best to do everything locally and, shop and eat local and things of that nature. So do business local.
If I ran into you in a restaurant in Fort Worth, you're going to be wearing a disguise of some sort?
No, but I fully expect you to call me out.
No, every now and then, Rob and I will go, she likes a couple of these antique malls in Dallas, and we'll go over there and that kind of thing. But she knows the inventory at the local antique mall pretty well by now.
But a lot of times, if we're going to eat at a place, we'll pick out a place that may be of interest for us to recruit to the community.
You're always on the job.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm always asking for the owner's information or something
really?
like that.
Do they give it to you?
So most times they do.
Yeah.
But you're never going to know if they're going to give it to you if you don't ask.
Exactly right.
So
we've been waiting for a long time for a certain restaurant. Robin loves Maggiano's in Dallas. You ever heard of it?
Yes.
She loves it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they'll come to Burleson because they kind of have a big city vibe. But, she'd love it. As far as like other types of restaurants or other specific ones, I'm sure you get hit up on the street or,
for sure.
emails or whatever saying, hey, how about a XYZ?
Yeah. And we try to be really picky, patient as much as we can. If we're the ones kind of going after somebody, that it's something that, doesn't impact the other small businesses we do have in town. So
Yeah, I
if
understand.
it's going to a different part of the community, something like that, then that makes a difference. But
Right.
we want to make sure that we're not creating something and bringing something to town that's going to negatively affect somebody that's been here for a long time and
Sure.
does good business.
We don't do that Maggiano's across the street from Sammy's.
Yeah.
Because we like Sammy's.
Exactly.
It's good
So-
food. And,
Exactly.
so I understand what you're saying. But
Yeah.
but often, though, as far as,
A lot of times these people come in without even us
Okay.
talking to them.
right, that's what I was going to
So,
get at, is
yeah.
that, you can't control that. And
Yeah.
so let's say an Italian restaurant comes in, you say, look, if you put it here, you're going to be in direct competition with these. Why don't you put it over here where you're going to have
Most of the times when we hear about it, they've already
done
secured their site.
Oh,
kind
really?
of thing. So it's more, we kind of work with them through the process and everything like that. We let the other entity know, give them a heads up. We don't want anybody to be surprised of something that may impact their store.
Well, I see again on social media, people say, we don't need more of this, or we don't
Yeah.
need more of that. But, again, first of all, I don't think the city should be in a position where they turn business away. Certainly.
No.
And they also,
We always try to find a place for somebody that calls us looking for a piece of real estate, because then we do try to be beneficial to them of like, hey, I wouldn't go here because there's all these other entities and competition here. But if you go to the other side of the community where it's active or it's becoming more active, there's opportunities over here as well. I mean, it's just,
I would imagine you get some inquiries in Old Town because it has a synergy kind of feel
it
to it.
does.
Is
I
that-
mean, it's our cultural district. And I mean, it's, we do get some inquiries about Old Town. But I mean, we're extremely picky in Old Town. Just because we want it to be,
When you say picky,
unique.
well, picky, I mean, in
Not
what
when people
sense?
call, but like if we're recruiting or something like that. But we try to get the one-offs, the Twisted Sisters that
Right,
only have
right.
now 2 locations, or
as opposed to a Chili's or something
yeah,
like that.
exactly. So
Yeah. Well, I think that would be kind of defeating the purpose.
yeah, exactly.
Now, of course, everybody is lamenting Heim leaving.
So-
They're already out, though, right?
Yeah, they're out. They're moving their equipment and everything out of the building. It's been toured by a lot of different entities over
no
the last
doubt.
few weeks, and I think somebody will backfill that space. I mean,
Another restaurant, maybe.
more than likely.
More than
I mean,
likely,
it's set
yeah.
up for a restaurant with a grease trap and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
It'll bring up Matt Jonas again.
So-
but as far as other types of restaurants, again, like I said, I'm learning a lot about
Yeah.
entrepreneurship. Restaurant business has got to be the hardest one.
it's tough too.
It
You
is.
know, it's
Because-
not easy.
I was talking with Otto a couple of weeks ago. I was over at Gina's, and we're having a little snack. And
They do it
and
well,
whatever.
though.
They do a great job, but he also was talking about all the other issues you have to deal with.
Yeah.
In terms of cost.
Absolutely.
He doesn't have a lot of labor issues, but he has some. But
Yeah.
some of these places have a hard time keeping help
Yeah,
because the restaurant works hard. I mean, did you ever work at a restaurant?
I did not.
You lucked out because I
Yeah.
worked at when I was in high school, worked at a fancy restaurant in Plano, and I was just the bus boy,
Yeah.
go get it boy, clean
Yeah.
up the mess boy, dishwasher, the whole thing, right? And it's a tough business,
Yeah.
a lot of standing on your feet, a lot of late hours, things
Yeah,
of that nature.
For sure.
Now, as far as that space on Wilshire and Summercrest, all I see is piles of dirt.
Yeah.
I know
But not dilapidated buildings.
no, right, and it looks
So-
better. I'd rather see
Yes.
that than that old store that was there,
Yeah,
that old
exactly.
convenience store, or the rundown nursery setup.
We have an amendment with the developer going to council on Tuesday next week to kind of reestablish some new dates for them to get started. It's just retail is very volatile in terms of getting. It's like getting 4 kids ready for school at the same time to leave the house at the same time. Trying to get 4 tenants to sign leases and get going on the full development is tough. But I think we're finally there.
Well,
The tenant lineup is going to change a little bit.
Oh, sure it is.
But retail is always changing. So
A few months ago, I heard there's going to be like some sort of Hawaiian hamburger place. That's long gone.
No more Hawaiian Brothers.
No Hawaiian Brothers.
So
yeah.
I think there's 3 new entities there. That one that's always been there, the Greek restaurant. There'll be another Greek restaurant. I think it's I Love Greek or something like that.
We have a Greek restaurant in Burleson? Or near it?
No, well, Kava is kind of Mediterranean.
I get you.
So
okay, yeah.
you know, we'll have a different style or different version of Mediterranean food.
I was thinking like gyros and things like that nature.
I think they're going to have things of that.
Those are good too.
So yeah,
and see, that's the kind of diversity that we really enjoy because you know, it's like, you know, that old joke. You ask your wife, "What do you want to eat?" And so she goes, "Oh, I don't care." And so, how about this place? Oh no, I don't want to go there. You know, but we got all these different choices and so we really covered the entire spectrum until we get, I guess, you know, I don't know, Angolan food or something like that.
Yeah,
you know?
there's the new ramen bar that opened up in Antonio's, you know, shopping center, ramen bar and hibachi bar in town. That's been a big hit.
Taylor, do you eat ramen?
Yeah.
Well, see, here's what I remember of ramen. It's something we ate in college. It would heat up the water in the sink and put, you know, and put the noodles in.
This is a little bit more fancier than
TikTok
that.
on that the other day.
Yeah.
It was distributing. I would much prefer a place like we just got in.
Well, I mean, I always thought of ramen as like 25 cents a pack, and it was something we college kids ate because we were cheap, and it would get you through the lunch hour or something.
But they've been super busy. It's been a big hit. So
really, okay. Well, I do like Payway.
Yeah, Payway's been great addition. You know, I mean, that kind of just, you know, and you have Pook and downtown with Pandan. I mean,
Pook's a former student of mine. I found it. I mean, I remember her now, but I found out she owns it. Walked in there and she goes, "Hey, Mr. Allard." I'm like, "I know you," but I can't remember, and I don't want to give the year she graduated because it always gives away their age. But it was a little while back. But she looks really kind of pretty much the same because that's why I recognized her. I'm like, okay, go through the Rolodex of names.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, I think they did it at Daydreams. It's a very nice coffee shop.
Daydreams great. I mean, to have the coffee shop still downtown, that's awesome. So,
and you know, it's hard. Yeah, hard to keep it open because you know
it's been busy in there every morning. I mean, just people, you know, plopping with their computer or you know, and working in there.
Well, that's where I do my mid-morning meetings. If I'm going to meet somebody like at 10, I do it over at Daydreams because you know, because usually you're past breakfast and not ready for lunch and that kind of thing. So you go there, and they do have some things you can eat, you know, muffins and such. But you know, I think they do a great job.
Yeah, it's great.
And you know, I kind of get back to the Heim barbecue. You know, it's individually it's sad, but corporately for the city, I mean, we got a lot of barbecue choices. And when they were moving in, I thought it was going to be a saturated market. But that you know, again, like we were talking about, if they thought it was going to make money, that's all that matters.
Everybody has their different flavor of barbecue.
Yeah.
So even Lockhart, Texas, that is extremely small town, has 3 top, you know, 50, 60 barbecue places in the state. I mean, and they thrive.
Do you?
But I mean, it's.
Do you subscribe to Texas Monthly by any chance?
We do at the office, so we get that list as well. So.
Yeah, I get I subscribe, and I get the best barbecue places in Texas and all this other stuff. And apparently, number one in the state, in top 10 in the country, is not in Burleson, but it's local.
Yeah, Goldie's.
Yeah. So you know, we got barbecue aplenty, but
yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, we could speculate why we like what we like. But, again, it boils down to somebody who's willing to put the money in it.
If you talk to 10 different people, you get 10 different answers. So,
well, okay, I'll get back to this. You know, you get have conversations, you have emails, you have people that, you work for the city. Don't, you know, what you do, they pull you your sleeve and say, hey, we need this. What do they think we need?
I mean, it ranges from a lot of different things. You know, I've had people say, "Hey, we need a liquor store in town." You know, before it was on the election, you know, on the ballot. But you know, we still get the Panera. We don't get family entertainment anymore because we now have Alley Cats. I mean, it's more of your specialized different restaurants or retailers that people are wanting here in the community. So
my wife likes Paneras.
Yeah, so
I like it, but she really likes it.
But there again, it's like Stone Soup does such a great job serving our community.
Exactly.
And they have a lot of the same type of items that Panera does.
Well,
and it's,
in fact, I'm having stone soup for a sandwich for lunch today. I have an opportunity fund meeting in about an hour, and the fund provides us a lunch.
Yeah.
We have a working lunch, so it's very nice.
I mean, it's just like Chipotle coming into town. We didn't recruit them in, but but Mojo's is fantastic.
Yeah.
So we try to be cognizant of, people coming in and letting those people know that are in direct competition, that are small businesses in our community, be aware of what's going on.
Where is the so-called hottest place in Burleson right now in terms of inquiries and possibilities?
I think as you look at the community, kind of the next place that, is going to really be intriguing is, Hewlin or Old Shaftstall Road in Wilshire, because Wilshire and John Jones is kind of built out, per se. So, and I think also going up John Jones to Alsbury, that stretch of John Jones and Alsbury John Jones intersection where Alley Cats is at, is another area that we'll see some growth in, I think, over the next few years.
Well, there is some space on John Jones and Alsbury near Castrol Oil.
Yeah, there's pads outside.
Yeah, there's some space.
Yes.
I figured that'd be the next one.
Yeah, so I mean, there's different areas around the community depending on the inquiry of what's going on. Big Lots is leaving, by April 1st, so that'll be a big space to fill. So Party Cities, going out of business as well. Those are direct, I would say victims of Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking that
things have caught up to some of these retailers that are been competing with Amazon, and they just can't hold on any longer.
It's really sad though, because
and I think we will see more retailers across the country that have to shut their doors because of that.
Well, unless they have a very strong presence in the community or advertise a ton or whatever else. But it's when I was much younger, before really online, I thought it'd be great to have like a bookstore and coffee and all this stuff. There's no way I could make that work now. I mean,
you would have to.
It wouldn't work.
It would have to be a donated space for somebody to operate something like that, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and even if I had owned the space, it's still I couldn't compete in the inventory section.
No, because absolutely not.
Even if I had a specialized book selection, all history books or whatever, they can get stuff. Not just from Amazon, but from all over.
Yeah, all over.
And it's, I miss it. I remember, you probably remember, Borders was here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if they could put Borders out of business.
It did.
They put mom and pop.
I mean, there's only a handful of Barnes and Nobles left, but those are very, in very dense population areas.
And they got more toys and books, and movies. And I like a bookstore, not this stuff. But, one of the real sad ones is, dates me a bit too. About 20 years ago, they had a Barnes & Noble in downtown Fort Worth, and that was a great place to go. You can go, get some coffee, get a magazine, go by, look at the books. It was a great place for me if I was babysitting the kids. Of course, people, if they're your own kids, you're not babysitting, whatever. But we'll take the kids to the area for
sure,
kid books and toys, and that's long gone. And I don't know. I miss those days. I really do.
Yeah.
Now,
we all miss certain things, I mean, it's just, but we also, find new things that we enjoy too. So,
there's some benefits to online, obviously. And of course, going and
we're a creature of convenience now.
But we may have talked about this before, but Amazon doesn't pay Burleson city taxes, does it not, for deliveries?
We receive sales tax off of Amazon deliveries that happen within the city of Burleson.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good, because I know that wasn't always the case.
It was not. That changed about 4 years ago.
Yeah, I remember. That was a big deal that Amazon could deliver and save you tax.
It's still kind of it's a big deal now this year again at the state legislative, trying to change it back to the way it was, which was Amazon was paying all the sales tax in the city where it originated from. So not the delivery.
Well, so that doesn't help us in much, because if you're, a lot of this is foreign, right?
Well, a lot of it comes from their distribution centers. So like the Amazon facility that's being built in Cleburne. So that is an intake facility. It's not a delivery location. So they'll intake, all products, into that facility. That's why it's so large. And they'll disperse their products to delivery locations or delivery warehouses, kind of like what's the smaller one in South Fort Worth that's being used as a movie studio, but other Amazon facilities like that.
I was wondering,
and then
what
they get delivered out from that.
I drive by it and it's empty, and I did not know it was for a movie studio. I just thought it was empty space.
Yeah. So for right now, it is.
Oh, can I segue on something?
Yeah,
Speaking of space, our friends over at ASD need y'all's help. Okay, did y'all see about that? Right, Lisa Boltinghouse has been putting it out there, and she's going to be on the show on the 6th of February, and they're losing their lease.
Yeah,
and
so they have to be. They need a new space by July.
Yeah, and they do such great work. I hope we can find a way to keep them in Burleson. They may.
We're trying.
Well, they may be forced to move
just trying to find a
Fort Worth
place
or something.
I get it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So it's all in the city.
Yeah.
Of course, everything,
Yeah.
people think the city can, do anything. And it's really funny because Victoria talks about how they want her to fix the traffic lights or something like, she has the tools in her back car, and that kind of thing. But, I hope Lisa finds a space.
I hope she does too. They've been great partners with the community.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see that changing if, location changes either.
Well, it was interesting because in our BNI meeting, one of the members is Harvest House, and Garrett Roper was there, and he, instead of using the 50 seconds to promote a business, he used to promote ASD.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's because, that's something that needs to get out there. But we're going to get her on, like I said. But anyway, I'm sure everybody has their ideas, but about this, about that. But how much influence does that really have on y'all?
So, I mean, if we get a request of like, hey, we need this in town, we'll reach out and, see what their requirements are, see if there's, a fit here in the community. And we typically get back with the citizen that's asking us.
Really? So if I just email just, hey, I'd like to have, whatever, I can't
try to, that's our job. That's our job, is to serve the citizens.
Well, I know, but also you're serving the city council, you're serving the retail and other business community, but
in the end, we serve the community.
Yeah. Well, okay. If I think of something, I'll send it to you.
Absolutely, send it over.
Really, I just thought y'all get hammered with these things and like, it's him again.
That's part of our job duties.
Leave me alone.
Send it over. So
right? Is there anything you can tell us about that's coming soon?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
I know. There's where Einstein's opened up. There's an ice cream parlor coming in there as well called Handles, and then a Hawaiian barbecue place called Mo Betta's.
Really?
That's coming in there as well. So that'll be there, and then we have Planet Fitness opened up. First year, that, so that's to be in the old Bell's building, to finally have some activity in that building has been good.
Yeah,
kind of reactivates that center a little bit for some new things.
Sure.
We're starting to see some backfill of space, things of that nature. So,
well, that
Twisted Sisters will open up, March 1st, I believe, is
March
their
1st.
date.
Okay.
So they're doing finish out in there now. And,
that space you just mentioned, where Hobby Lobby is now, when I first moved here, is the Walmart.
It was Walmart.
Right. But they also had 3 or 4 other places. They had a Winn-Dixie there, if I remember.
Winn-Dixie is where Big Lots is now. So it's a big space. So we're actively trying to get somebody in there, and we just don't have those spots yet. So
and then they have I remember China Doll.
Yeah, China Doll was an institution here in town.
You betcha. And you didn't ask a lot of questions about what's going on in the kitchen.
No,
but the food was good.
Yeah, exactly.
I had some kids that worked there, and they said, "You don't want to know."
The original Mama's Pizza was in that shopping center. There was a lot of things. Eckerd's was there next to Winn-Dixie. So
I remember, and it's nostalgic.
Yeah,
but that's the way it
over
is
time.
in the world.
It's over time. Over time, things change.
Well, I'm involved in the venture right now. I'm still in the beta stage, as I call it. That hopefully we'll be able to publicize a lot of these things going on. That I mentioned the radio I'm putting on. You want to throw that back on there, bud?
Yeah.
All right.
There it is.
All right. Community radio. Okay. Anyway, it's on live right now, live 365. But I haven't been pushing it like in the social media or with advertisers yet because it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But I did a radio station a couple of years ago with Live 365, and it failed because it was all about music and it's about my taste and all this. This is more tailored to to what people would listen to.
Yeah,
60s,
absolutely.
70s, 80s, whatever. But it also is going to have like this podcast on it. I'm talking to 2-3 other guys about putting their podcasts on it. I'm going to walk in to the businesses, and I'm going to have some promotional materials that my friend over at Bass Printing, Al Warner's putting together. And I'm just going to drop it on and say, hey, when you got time, we'll talk. I'm not here to take up your time. But I think a personal visit is better than just throw it in the mail, because we all know what happens.
Well, it's easy to, even email. It's easy to put an email, aside, or piece of mail aside. Person to person is always the best avenue of communication.
Well, plus I think it'd be better if they have a face to associate with this online presence.
Absolutely.
But my date is February 3rd.
Oh, very cool.
And I'm going to be on Odyssey and TuneIn as well as Live 365. Okay. And so I'll be on 3 different platforms. And so, a lot of people, I don't know how many people have Live 365, but I know a lot of people have TuneIn and Odyssey.
Yeah.
If you listen to the Ranger games, you need to have Odyssey. So,
yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. I think you have the brochure. He's about to pop them up. The brochures are coming. They're about 3-4 days away.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
There you go. And see all the nice stuff, and there's a package and all this. And I'm hoping to sell advertising.
Very cool.
Nonprofits and city-related news and whatever is all part of the package. I'm not going to charge Burleson for city council meetings or the nonprofits for putting out. We had this fundraiser going on. That's, I don't know. It would not be very neighborly.
Yeah,
but
I get that.
Yeah, my public service announcements.
Yeah, for sure.
But do you do podcasts?
I do not.
Okay, but does the city do podcasts about business and all this other business?
No, we do not.
Joni doesn't do it. I could see her doing it.
No, Joni does not do that. We used to do one back in the day, years ago.
I remember that.
On Fridays, and kind of recap a month's worth of activities, or have different people on and interview small businesses, things of that nature. Just didn't get much traction, and we just kind of.
There you go.
Yeah, I understand. So
if you send me the material, I'll put it on.
But now it's like we got a lot of other things going on. So we added another team member to our team this year.
Who's that?
Jessica Torres. She started a couple weeks ago. She's going to be our data analyst and help us out with a lot of different items and be a part of the team. So we're excited to have her.
That's good. And you have so much space to work from in the city hall, right?
In the new building that was built, we planned for in the future a fourth person. So we have the room for her. So, but we're looking forward to an exciting year. We're getting it kicked off and getting ready for Project U. So that's our big event of the year.
Well, I'm going to have Colin Gregory's police podcast on it.
Ah, cool.
He does them like 3 or 4 a month. And he's just going. I gave him the OneDrive to put it on there, place it on there, and I'm going to put it on. It's scheduled. I'm going to do a church.
Cool.
My church, First Baptist, is going to be on there. I'm talking to another church about Bible studies they want to do. I'm doing. There's 2 or 3 other people that I'm talking to that I'm kind of like you. I can't really say their names.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully understand that.
Let's finish off with Project U.
Okay.
Because we have about 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
So you finish us off with what people who are going to be there, what they can expect.
Yeah. Project U is a full day professional leadership conference, something we created 5 years ago. This is our 5th year. So the theme for this year is celebrate. We want to celebrate 5 years, but it's also a time to kind of learn a little bit about, making sure we're slowing down enough to celebrate the small wins, and not be such in a hurry to get to the next project or the next, task on the list. Take the time to stop and celebrate the people in that small win and the community in that small win. So that'll be kind of woven through the day. We have 5 professional speakers that we're bringing in from all over the country. And then we'll have breakfast from Busy Bee Bakery, and we'll have lunch from the Rim, and we'll have afternoon snack from Southern Charm Cakery, and
they just opened up on Hidden Creek as well.
Yeah,
see, that's my target audience. I'm going to go and talk to the young lady and say, "Hey, how about advertising?"
Yeah,
and I'm cheap too. I'm very inexpensive.
What we're doing with this is, it's cost neutral for us. We don't make money off of it. It's a neutral event. We want to create tools for people and small businesses and entrepreneurs in our community to put in their toolbox from these speakers, and create as many ripple effects that we can in the community for success.
Well, I got a couple of people here that text in saying that you do a great job. I don't know why they don't put it on the screen, but maybe But anyway, y'all really do a great job.
Yeah.
Because it.
Well, I appreciate that.
You know, it's I don't know of any community that probably has as well coordinated and a professional staff. You know, y'all seem to work pretty well together.
We do. I mean, we live here. I mean, it's our community, and you know, we make what we do very personable to the community because they are part of our storytelling group. That, you know, a business comes in that's not here, their first interaction is not going to be always with us. It may be, hey, I'm here a little early. I'm going to Fresco's for lunch on Friday. Well, if they ask the waitress or the waiter, like, hey, how's the community? You know, if they have a negative impact of the community, that's the first impression. So we want to create as many storytellers in our community as we can for the I mean, now, do we have things that we need to fix? Absolutely. And there's not one community that's perfect, but you know, I'm going to be biased. I think we're above a lot of other communities, but that's just me.
I do too. And I'm not, I think I'm saying it objectively, but maybe we got to do what Trump wants to do with Canada. We got to annex Alvarado or, you know, whatever, annex Godly. You think they'll go for that? Probably not. I didn't think so. Okay.
But I mean, people are like, you know, we're getting too big, and we're losing the small town feel. And I will always continue to say, you only lose the small town feel if you feel like you're not a part of the town anymore. It's the people that make the small town feel. It's not
exactly.
It's not a certain entity that does, or certain place, or whatever memory you have. I mean, we're small town still, because that's what the people are moving here for.
Well, it's, you know, it's nostalgic, and it's kind of a bittersweet feeling when you see some institution that you've known for a long, long time.
Absolutely.
Move on, close down, retire, whatever. But I guess in my view, I grew up in a different environment, and Plano was so expansive that I saw new stuff all the time, and we didn't really have nostalgia to go back on.
The places that, you know, hey, they retire, they have to close up or something like that, rather than being, you know, woe is me. Let's celebrate the time we had with them. Yeah. You know, that kind of thing. How can we hold on to that celebration of, like, let's celebrate what they did for our community, kind of thing.
And it's, you know, it is bittersweet because, you know, neighbors are moving on. People got to find new jobs, and we understand that. But you know, it's like when Ronnie Johnson's on the show, we say, Ronnie, how could you get rid of Dairy Twin? But, you know, sooner or later, he would have gotten rid of Dairy Twin.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, but
you know, because he would have retired and said, "I'm tired of making hamburgers."
But he probably was tired of it 5 years before he had to, you know, kind of thing. You know, of certain aspects of the business of, like, man, I do not want to do that anymore.
Yeah, and so,
you know, kind of
absolutely.
Thing. So, I mean, we're all not going to be in the same position in 10 years from now. I mean, it's just we got to celebrate along the way, because if we don't, we're just going to be.
One positive about Burleson, and I'm comparing it to my dad's hometown in Oklahoma. When they close a business down, nobody replaces it. You know, when they lose some store or they lose a restaurant, there's not another one coming in, and you don't have a group of people asking inquiries about it. It's closed in Hobart, Oklahoma. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. And I remember as a kid being up there, you know, in the summer working for my uncle, and that's all these restaurants they had. And all this, they're all long gone, and it's sad. And the town is pretty dead. So we ought to be more glad that we have this kind of dynamic atmosphere and environment to do business in.
Yeah, and it's a lot of our storytellers in the community recruiting business too. It's not just us.
You got to get. Does Mary Slaney get a piece of the action? I mean, you get a percentage.
She's the best cheerleader we have on in the community, supporting small business.
Or maybe Patsy Dumas. You know, I'll be seeing her.
Patsy does a great job. I mean, they're Hall of Famers and, you know, kind of cheerleaders of small business kind of stuff. So
I appreciate you coming in.
Absolutely, I appreciate the time.
No problem. We'll talk to you in a couple months and see what's going on. See March or early April, and
that'll work.
And by then you'll have more news for us, I'm sure.
More than likely.
So
we're always.
Is this a slow period? January?
Yeah, December, January is typically kind of a little bit slower.
Yeah, summertime is when it's most active.
Yeah,
I figured. So, Taylor, I'll see you. Well, I guess Monday.
If we're not snowed in.
Oh, please stop.
I'll believe it when I see it. Burleson Bubbles sucked last week.
Yeah, it did. Okay, I'm checking out the schedule. I'm pretty sure I know who it is, but I'll make sure. Next week, go to the right month. Next week, I have on the 20th, I have Greg Cooper. I'm going to talk about taxes in the state legislature. And then on the 23rd, I have the Amanda Mann Clark project. They do colorectal cancer research, funding, fundraising for it. And they do a really good job. They have a fundraiser coming up on March 9th, I believe. I know it's early March. So we got that going on.
Very cool.
I'll probably by next week have more news about the radio. But like I said, step by step.
Yeah. Got to be patient when you don't want to be patient.
3 steps forward, 1.5 step back.
Sounds like life.
It is. It is. And I tell this to people in the Lake Crimea River.
Yeah.
But got to go off to the BOF meeting, Bertelsmann Opportunity Fund. So I'll talk to you all next week.
Thank you.